Hey friends, this is Audie Cornish, host of CNN This Morning and The Assignment, and guess what? Every story you care about, every angle you want unpacked is now streaming on CNN. That means you can catch my show or other CNN programming whenever you want on your favorite device. And a subscription also gets you access to exclusive video series and unlimited articles. So subscribe to CNN at cnn.com/subscription.
This October, the wrong station celebrates a decade of dread. You can read the show notes to discover terrible new ways to celebrate with us. Today's episode, Impounded, is written by Jacob Duarte Spiel and performed by Anthony Botelho.
Last year, we had this skinhead militia coming to town, looking to recruit people. They parked a shitty old bus in a member's driveway and camped out just outside the town limits. Every day they came in to hang around the bar, play ball outside the Y, basically anywhere they could strike up a conversation. Took a week or so for us to get together and kick them out. You gotta kick them out. You can't just ignore them. You ignore them, and that gives them time to teach. Most people won't listen. You catch the right guy on the wrong day, you can nurture whatever anger they already got brewing inside them. Teach them to hate. So yeah, we kicked him out. Nobody's born hating their brother. You gotta have a dedicated instructor. We all saw what happened to Willie and Mitch, and weren't eager to repeat it. Willie and Mitch, two dedicated instructors. Oh, you didn't hear about that? Oh, for your time, I guess. Yeah, I'll tell you about it. So Willie had been living in this town as long as I can remember. His pops and my pops were friends. They drank at the same bar anyway. Mitch is Willie's twin brother, but he only came back a few years ago. He'd been gone for a while. What happened was they both grew up here. Couple blocks away, went to the same school, jumped off the same boat launch down at Wasaga Beach. Regular brothers, One day, when they're still 9 years old or something, their mom dies from cancer, I think, and their dad goes a little crazy. He buys this old car, a Blaylock, that he used to have back when she and him were dating. He also buys this old lot down by the Castle Pub, because that's where they met. The bar off Highway 9 with the turrets and stuff sticking off the side. Green plaster dragon falling apart on the roof. It's closed now. So the dad's not doing so hot, taking care of two kids on his own. Willie and Mitch are too young to get jobs. I remember they spent a lot of time at my place. I think it was my mom's idea. Their pops couldn't cook. I don't think he ever could cook. The years pass, and Willie and Mitch turn 18, and when that happens, their pop calls them into the living room and tells them, "I got a deal for you. I've got a bit of money saved from when your mom died, and if one of you moves out, I'll give you your inheritance now, plus the Blaylock." I knew Willie and Mitch back then, and neither of them had much of a mind for planning. I don't think that until that moment, either of them wanted to do much of anything with their lives other than sit at home and mooch off their dad. Now they got a ticket out, a chance to live a real, honest-to-God life. So both of them wanted it. But Mitch got there first, took the deal before Willie could even open his mouth. His pops gave him the money and the car, and then Mitch was gone. A moose, dust in the wind. Willie stayed at home with his dad. Some more years pass. Willie's working hard as a handyman with his dad. They fix stuff up around town. Then the dad hurts himself while digging out a pool, so he ends up sitting at home while Willie works. He's drinking more and more. The dad never really took care of his health, Polishes off a 2-4 every weekend. Now he's drinking the same and sitting at home, not keeping his body in shape. Plus, he's getting older. It's only a matter of time. Willie comes home one night and finds him face down on the floor. Massive stroke. This whole time, Mitch hasn't sent a single postcard, let alone called. Somehow, he hears his dad's dead, and on the day of the funeral, who rolls up in the Blaylock but Mitch? 15 years older, a little leathery around the eyes from too much sun, but still Mitch. First thing he says to Willie, "How much you think we can get for the house?" Turns out he's been tooling around the South with the car all these years, taking on odd jobs, slowly whittling away at the inheritance. Never stayed in one place more than a few months. Now he's running on empty. I mean, literally. He had to siphon gas to get back home. Willie tells him he's not selling the house. So Mitch tells him, that's fine, he'll move in. It's his house, too. Willie says, like hell it is, and the two almost come to blows at the graveside. You ever seen twins fight? It's a strange thing to behold. Anyway, they settle down. Mitch asks if he can at least park the car in the driveway. And it looks like Willie's going to say something and start the whole thing up again. He stops just short, and I can tell by his eyes that he's thinking hard. So Mitch ends up sleeping in at the Motel 6 in exchange for washing dishes. But his Blaylock is nice and safe in the driveway. Now, back then, the cops had this dinky little impound lot behind the station. Fits maybe 8 vehicles, which was fine back in the 50s when only 3,000 people lived here. Then the factories rolled in, population explodes to 30,000. Then the factories roll out, and suddenly drunk driving is the town sport. Where are they going to put all those cars? That's when Willie pipes up, "Hey, I got a lot you can use for cheap down by the Castle Pub. You can lease it, and I'll even put in the fencing for free." Well, shit, that's a real steal of a deal. Willie takes the first and last month's rent from the cops and starts working like a man possessed. I swear I never seen Willie work like that. He's pouring concrete, putting up chain-link fences, even built a little kiosk for a night watchman. He's changing his body, too. Willie was always a little on the heavy side, but every time I see him at the grocery store, he's turning heads. Female heads, too. So in a couple months, the fencing is up, the cops are happy, and Willie's got his own impound lot. It seats 30. Then, one night, Willie calls the cops and says, "Hey, there's this fucking Blaylock illegally parked in my driveway." Cops run the plates, call whatever number Mitch had on his license, and of course nobody picked up, so they shrug, tow the car, and lock it up in their brand new impound lot. Mitch, who doesn't notice at first, he's still building a stake, getting ready to blow town. But the Blaylock needs to be driven every couple of weeks so the engine doesn't die. He saunters over to Willie's place one night to take the car out, finds the driveway empty. And that's when the shit really hits the fan. I mean, I'd be pissed too. Sure, Mitch hadn't made much of an effort to talk to Willie or even visit him while he was in town. And yeah, Willie didn't exactly make it easy for him since he'd said some pretty horrible stuff at the funeral. But either way, Mitch is screaming at Willie through the door, "Give me my car, you piece of shit," which of course plays right into Willie's hand because he can just call the cops. And he does, and then Mitch spends the night in the drunk tank, which, in fairness, he was. Mitch gets out, and the first thing he does is blow a paycheck on a pair of bolt cutters. Goes down to Willie's impound lot, snips the lock, takes his car, and takes a shit on the desk in the kiosk. When Willie wakes up the next morning, he's got a note that says, "Fuck you," taped to his door, and the Blaylock is back in his driveway. Now, believe it or not, but Willie was not prepared for this. He figured Mitch would just give up once the cops were involved. Hell, he couldn't even tell the cops what Mitch had done because they'd find out Willie had never hired a night watchman. Willie pays to get the car towed back to the impound lot. He puts a different lock on it this time, one of those ones with a real thick metal body that you can't get a hold of without a special tool. He also decides he's going to stay there the whole night. But around 4 a.m. he gives up and heads home. Soon as he's gone, Mitch cuts a big old hole right in the chain-link fence and drives out. He must have been hiding in the bushes, waiting for Willie to leave. Next morning, the car is back in Willie's driveway. And there's a brick through his window. All right, fine, says Willie. Tows the car back over to the impound lot. It heads to Elmvale, 2 towns over. In Elmvale, there's a guy who breeds dogs for the Ontario Police Canine Units. He also trains attack dogs on the side, and the cops look the other way. Willie shows up at the guy's doorstep one day and says, "I need the biggest, meanest junkyard dog you have." And the guy sells it to him. Some big mutt with sharp teeth and mangy fur and wild eyes. I'd see him standing at the impound gate, just staring out at the world, not making a sound. Spooky. But still, Willie decides he's not taking any chances this time, that this is going to be the last of it. He buys himself a week's worth of groceries and some dog food and sets up shop in the night watchman's kiosk. Willie's still got Mitch's car. Takes a ball hammer and shatters the driver's side window so he can open the door. He lets the dog in the car and makes sure he gets a big whiff of Mitch's scent, all the while riling up the dog, getting him frothing mad. I heard the dog even took a chunk out of the headrest. Makes sense, since Willie wasn't feeding him too much, trying to keep the dog real angry. Every day he takes the dog to the car and gets him riled up. Every night he sits in the kiosk eating chips and beans from a can, wearing the same stained white shirt because he forgot to bring a change of clothes. I dropped by one night to see if he was doing all right, and he looked through me like I wasn't even there. Didn't even open the kiosk window to say anything. And the smell radiating off that thing was intense, like a wet litter box. I'm not trying to disparage no one. All I know is there wasn't a bathroom in the impound. I left when the dog started growling at me through the fence. But get this, that whole week, 7 days, 7 nights, Mitch never shows up to get his car. Now, on the 8th day, Willie finally snaps out of it and realizes he can't just sit there forever. He starts to get his stuff together. As he's doing this, he sees someone walk out of the woods directly towards him. The guy looks and smells even worse than Willie does, and he's pointing and screaming at the impound lot. Takes Willie a second to realize that it's Mitch. He'd been out in those woods the whole time, waiting for Willie to leave. Well, shit, if he'd only waited a few minutes longer, Willie would have been long gone. Mitch walks right up to the fence and starts shouting in Willie's face. You can imagine. "How could you do this to me? Give me my car, you're a piece of shit!" And so on and so forth, and Willie is shouting back at him, "You're not my brother, you're just some bum. Why don't you get a real job? Get the fuck out of my town!" It's a good old-fashioned domestic. And the dog is going nuts this whole time, growling, barking, clawing at the chain-link fence. He smells what he smelled in the car, and he wants to get at it. Wants to please his master. Listen, I'm not saying it's Willie's fault. He was being a dumbass. But who hasn't been a dumbass? It's just, he was never too handy, and he didn't know much about installing fences. Hell, I don't think it was Mitch's fault neither. He was being a dumbass too. Maybe he could have been nicer about the car, or maybe he'd been a better brother back when they were both 18. Either way, the dog got out. That spot where Mitch cut through the fence, Willie didn't repair it so good. Dog pushed right through it while the brothers were arguing, and the next thing Willie knows, Mitch is on the ground, with the dog's jaws wrapped around his throat. Willie screams, "Mitch!" and tries to push through the front gate, but of course it has that special lock on it, so he has to run to the kiosk and dig through 8 days of garbage to get the key. By the time he gets back, Mitch is all carved open, and the dog is chewing on his insides. Willie finally opens the gate and pushes the dog away. He grabs Mitch's head and tries to wake him up, but he's gone, long gone. Willie's weeping, can't see anything. Then, after a moment, he feels Mitch moving in his arms, and he thinks it's a miracle. But no, it's just the dog chewing at Mitch's guts. So Willie does what I think anyone would do. Kicks the dog in the ribs to warn him off Mitch's body. Only the dog doesn't like that. It starts growling something fierce, starts advancing on Willie with its body coiled, ready to pounce. Which is when Willie remembers that Mitch is his identical twin. Same body, same smell. He gets about 3.5 steps before the dog brings him down as well. And that's how the police found them. 2 dead twins and 1 full dog. We buried them both at the family plot a few years back. The impound lot got sold to the cops by the state. The Blaylock, too. Damn fine car. A damn shame. The dog, though, well, the police saw him when they rolled up the crime scene, but I guess it had some kind of inkling what was about to happen. You can't let a dog like that live. One of the cops pulled his gun. The dog flattened its ears and took off running into the woods. Poof. Gone. It's out there, roaming around, eating what it can catch, growling at anyone who comes close. Anyone except for me. My yard opens up onto the woods. I've seen that dog back there. Caught him on my security cams. Big eyes glowing green in the floodlight. I started leaving food out on the back porch. And I sit out there in my old patio chair. I sit and I wait. And every night he comes around to eat. Every night he lets me sit a bit closer. I talk to him in a soft voice. Sometimes I just babble or baby talk. Other times I tell him stories. I tell him about Mitch and Willie. The good stuff I remember anyway, before things went sour. He still growls at me if I get too close. But he's letting me get closer. I figure if I keep at it, well, shit. I haven't thought that far ahead. I reckon if you can teach an animal to hate, you can teach him not to. Just need a dedicated instructor. That's all. The Wrong Station is made possible with the generous support of our listeners on Patreon. Join us today at patreon.com/The Wrong Station for bonus episodes, behind-the-scenes content, ad-free listening, and additional goodies celebrating our decade of dread. The Wrong Station is co-produced by Alexander Saxton, Anthony Botelho, and Jacob Duarte Spiel, with music composed and performed by Alon Citrin, and arranged for the viola and performed by Viola Schmidt. You can follow us on social media at The Wrong Station, or email us at thewrongstation@gmail.com. And until next time, thank you for listening.